Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the movie The Princess Bride. And I watched this, it was like on BBC America, and I recorded it. I did have one issue because of editing of what they were doing. I'm like, what the fuck are you people doing? This is a classic. But the thing is, I love this movie. And even just like watching it through to just review it, I'm like, alright, what do I got here? Because I recorded certain kind of stuff on the DVR. Let's see what's going on here. It's like, okay, The Princess Bride. Let's do this, because I had Stranger Things. I'm like, ugh. Let's have one, and it's kind of that cult classic, kind of similar to like what was going on with Hocus Pocus, A Christmas Story, that kind of bit, where you could just sit down at any kind of point and kind of get in with it. But I think that's also just how this movie is made, where it can just be that kind of thing of like, it's quotable, you understand what's kind of going on, it has ebbs and flows where you could just pop in at kind of any point and kind of see what's kind of going on. So, the thing is, we have a story and a story here, and I really like that framing and how it kind of works out, because you get a kind of push and pull of what's going on. We get Fred Savage, I think. Wonder Years. Yes, Fred Savage. So, he's at home, sick from school, and his mom comes in, pretty much says that his grandpa's come to kind of read to him and kind of just visit him. He's like, alright, and talking about how he did it for his father did it for him, and to kind of go with it. And it's like, alright, let's kind of see what's going on. I'll try and stay awake for it. And I love how the grandfather relays the story and like narrates it and everything, and then how the kid kind of like fights him on certain things. So we pretty much brought into this, and we see Buttercup. It's like, okay, what's kind of going on here? She loves to ride her horse. She keeps fucking with the stable boy Wesley, telling him to do all this kind of stuff, as he's saying, as you wish. And I love how it kind of teases out that he means that he loves her when he says this thing. And she starts to kind of figure that out as well. And them kind of come, and the kid's like, God, they're gonna be kissing. Screw this shit. And he's like, hold your horses, because he's like saying that there's giants and battles and all this kind of stuff. Being like, yeah, but hold on for it. And I love that we even get plot and character progression with what's kind of going on with the people outside of the story, as they're like taking breaks for like lunches and stuff like that, and coming back and being like, oh, alright, because at first he's adamantly against, like, fuck that kissing, screw that shit, no, and we see that changes as it progresses on. It's like, yeah, that's kind of cool. So he wants to marry Buttercup, so he decides to go up and tries to get money and everything so that way they can go and do this. However, his ship is attacked by the dread pirate Roberts at sea, and Wesley is lost. And she mourns him for like 5 years, but she then gets betrothed to Florin's Prince Humperdinck. Man, what a fucking name. Rob Reiner did a very good job with this, because the people reading the story and narrating to us buy into it, and so the people that are doing the story as well inside of it. Carrie Elwes? Elwes? I'm probably mispronouncing that. And just everybody involved just knows what's going on. And if you're watching this after you've seen Wonder Woman, yes, this is Wonder Woman's aunt from the first movie. Which you're just like, what the fuck? And I'm like, yeah, she's a badass there. She's also a badass here. And we get Florin, and what's the other one? And Dread Pirate Roberts does not leave any survivors. So it's like, oh shit. And we get some kind of other kind of nations in play here. Florin being the main one that we're pretty much situated in, but it still uses certain kind of other nations as well, like Australia and Sicily. So we see that like Humperdinck's pretty much planning the wedding and everything like that, and trying like this big 500 celebration for all that. And she's off riding, and then gets beset upon by some strangers on the wayside as she's then kidnapped, and pretty much they're plotting it on Gilder, I believe. Yeah. Pretty much trying to like force Pumperdinck to get rid of her so that way it's convenient for him and like precedes to kind of warn all that. So we get Vicini and Inigo Montoya and Fezzik, played by Andre the Giant. If I'm not that big into wrestling, but I know certain wrestlers and everything that have like come in, and Andre the Giant's kind of like one of those big ones, literally and figuratively. So he does a phenomenal job as Fezzik, doing his whole kind of wordplay and everything, his delivery, his lines. He's that gentle giant, but he'll like fight some motherfuckers if he needs to and do some crazy ass shit. But they're pretty much sailing away, trying to get through what's going on. And the funny thing is, we as the audience, seeing this in motion, are able to kind of piece things together depending upon what age you're at. Because if you're a kid, you're probably like, okay. The disguise that's kind of going on with this man in black probably will be like, I don't know what's going on. If you're reading it, that's a completely different thing. You're not going to be able to like pick up on this until the dramatic reveal that's kind of going on. So they are being it's funny, and it goes like, yeah, he keeps looking back there, and Vicini's like, why the fuck do you keep looking back there? It's like, I think we're being followed. Nobody should know we're doing this. And it's just like, holy fucking shit. This is where Buttercup tries to like go out, but we see that like the screaming eels are trying to like get her ass, but they get out, and they're the grandson being like, what the fuck's going on here? She can't die here, what? And it's like, hold on your horses. As they get to this cliff face and scale it, with Fezzik being able to carry all three of them and get up there. But of course, we see that this man in black is still pursuing. He's like, what the fuck is it? And he decides to leave Inigo there to fight him and deal with him. And the funny thing is, Inigo's like, I'm getting impatient. I was like, you're going to do this guy's shit. Because they cut the rope. He's like, hey, I'm going to let you come up if you're good. He's like, I don't know if I can trust your ass. He's like, I swear on the soul of my father. It's like, throw me the rope. And that just works with it. Now, that works within this kind of story that's going and showing the characters. It's like, okay, this dude, okay, you might not know him very well. But sometimes when people... It's hard to think about it nowadays or whatnot, but even also when it was being made at the time in like the 1980s when this movie came out, 1987. And it's like, all right, throw me the rope. So he gets up there, and of course, Inigo's like, I will fight him with my left hand to make it last longer. He's like, all right, let's do this shit. And it's really good because the fight choreography just works very well because we see them testing each other and going back and forth, and it's like, that there's something you don't know. I am not left-handed. And then Inigo just starts really kind of going at him, and you're just like, but there's something you don't know either. I'm not left-handed either. And then really just kind of going at it and seeing them in their prime. And the thing is, yes, that's very kind of anime and shonen kind of bit, but the thing is, you physically also see it in the changing of their styles. They are ambidextrous, but they have one that is a more prominent hand that they are able to utilize. And you see that going as they go and the tests of strength. So we have our cunning of the Master Swordsman. And then strength is what we do and deal with Fezzik. And then, of course, by the mind with Vicini. Well, we also had that Inigo asked if he had 6 fingers on his right hand. He's like, odd question to ask, but then we get him actually letting yes, spoiler alert, it is Wesley, rest and everything because he is why he's pursuing Buttercup. Because we see it as the audience of like, yeah, but the grandson doesn't know this yet. But we see him letting him have a kind of breather and everything and telling him about this sword that his father was commissioned to make it, and that the 6-fingered man wouldn't even pay like wanted to pay like a tenth of the price. It's like, nah, man. And then he used the sword and stabbed his father in the heart. So this is what he has been questing at for 20 years. He was an 11-year-old and he fought the dude, and he wasn't even killed, but he's been searching for this person for 20 years. And he's going to try and do it. And, of course, we get them fighting, and uh, the man in black is like, I don't got time for this, and knocks him out. We get that he is going after Fezzik and Viceni, and Fezzik is tasked with taking him out. He's like, just take a rock and bash his head. And, like, toss it. He's like, that's a warning shot. Kind of want to make it fair, as we see the man in black trying to, like, take him out, and, like, he's like, oh, man, I'm not used to fighting one-on-one, as he pretty much chokes him out, and he's just kind of explaining that he's usually fighting against, like, 10 people or whatnot at a time. He's like, oh, shit. Get to Viceni. And he's like, all right, I'll kill her. It's like, no need to do that. It's like, all right, then, a battle of wits. How about this? And he's like, iocane powder. Odorless. Tasteless. We see Wesley take it and put it, and he's like, now the game of wits has begun. And Viceni is just, like, so fucked over. He's, like, talking about, like, how going through all this rigmarole of the thought process of the man in black, and then switching the cups and drinking it, and laughing, and then falling over dead. And Buttercup's like, what happened? You picked the poison one? He's like, no, I poisoned them both. I built up a resistance that I came out. It's like, yeah! That's the smart way to do it. And he's pissed off at her for not waiting for her love, and her being like, don't mess with me, I died that day. And then we see that Prince Humperdinck has been seen and relaying what's been going on, and these fights and everything, being like, what the fuck's kind of going on? And then she pushes him down a hill saying, as you wish. Of course, that's the big reveal that it's Wesley. It's like, oh god. And then they're trying to escape. Humperdinck going into the fire swamp, where Wesley pretty much relays that he did say that he can't die yet because he has true love. And Dread Pirate Roberts is like, alright, you'll join my crew. Good night, Wesley. I may kill you tomorrow. And he was doing that for years at a time before eventually the Dread Pirate Roberts retired, and that's how they've been going. They'll find certain kind of people, kind of take them on as an apprentice, and then after a while they'll leave and then stay as like the first mate on the next one to kind of make sure the handoff goes pretty well. And it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Very superhero-ish, kind of like a legacy kind of thing kind of going on. As we see Wesley dealing with the fire, patting out Buttercup's dress, dealing with rodents of unusual size that are fucking gigantic, and like using fire and stabbing them with swords and shit. Dealing with lightning sand, which is getting sucked in. They're like, oh yeah, we're good. We'll just stay in here. Before they are set upon by Humperdinck as they leave the swamp. And like, yeah, we'll deal all in there. But Buttercup's like, listen, let him live. I'll go back with you. Of course, Humperdinck isn't going to do that shit. And we see that his right-hand man, let me see here. Transferable title. Rugen, Count Rugen, has the 6 fingers. Yeah. Interesting to have 6 fingers as he gets knocked out, and Rugen starts pretty much using Wesley as a torture subject. Has developed a machine that can suck the life force out of people, saying that will start with 1 year and then going up to maybe as high as 5 or 7. And it's so painful that he's like, all right. And he's very scientific and methodical about this, showcasing that logic in that kind of frame of reference can be a terrible thing as well. It's like, oh, shit. So, we also see that Humperdinck's like, oh, yeah, okay. She says that she can't marry him. And he's like, all right, cool. Sending off these letters on the 4 fastest ships. Yeah. Gilder. Yeah, he wants to start a war with Gilder by killing Buttercup and framing them for it. He had secretly hired Viceni to do this. So it's like, oh, you son of a bitch. And tells her to pretty much, like, fuck off on this shit, and saying that, like, she ain't marrying him, she'll fucking kill herself on that shit. We see that Inigo is drunk again, because he's kind of, like, back at square one, because Viceni's gone. Fezzik is now part of the Brood Squad, as they're clearing out the Thieves' Den, and he pretty much gets, what's kind of going on with Inigo, catches him up to speed of what's kind of going on. learning about the six-fingered man. It's like, I need help. I need someone to help us. The man in black. He must be able to help us. Trying to find him. They hear the anguish of what's kind of going on. Let's see. Because Humperdinck's pissed off and decides to crack out that motherfucking life-sucking machine up to 50. And we pretty much hear that kind of wail of agony, and Inigo's able to kind of like bump it. They find the albino that had pretty much been like ministering to Wesley to get him into a position where he, after the fire swamp, so that way he's in prime enough position to know what's kind of going on and is a better kind of test subject for Rugen. They do find the tree, and it's got this kind of secret knot. Rugen doesn't even really know where the secret knot is, even though it's his own secret fucking base. But Inigo uses his sword and pleads with the spirit of his father to help him, and he's like, ah, fuck. And he, like, stabs at the thing and then, like, leans on it and then opens it up, sees the dude's like, ah, shit. And Fezzik's like, listen, there could be something. He might be dead, but let's kind of check. So they decide to go to Miracle Max, played by Billy Crystal. Mike Wazowski. He's just great. He used to be the miracle worker for the king, but he was fired by Humperdinck. And there is a thing where Buttercup has this kind of dream where she's yelled at by this old crone that she had true love and that she chose Humperdinck and all that kind of stuff. But she's kind of dealing. That was kind of leading into her being like, I can't do this shit. And Miracle Max is like, let's kind of see what's kind of going on here. It's like, he's mostly dead, slightly alive. Kind of using the billows to be like, all right, why are you still alive? True love. Too late. They thought that like he owed him money or whatnot, and then he doesn't think he can do anything with it. His wife comes in and harangues and is like, listen, you've lost all your mojo since Humperdinck did this kind of shit. But of course Inigo then latches on the line. If you help this man, you fuck over Humperdinck. He's like, alright, let's do this. Give me that little amount of money you got, and let's do this. So they make a miracle pill that they coat in chocolate. It's like, yeah, and just wait for 15 minutes for maximum potency. While this is going on, we learn that Humperdinck has decided to pretty much have his guard take care, like the only way in, there was going to be 30, and it's got doubled to 60. So they pretty much get there, and they're checking out everything. They pop in the pill. They don't wait the exact allotted time, and then Wesley's like, who the fuck are you guys? It's like, oh, what? It's like, oh, you're... And Fezzik is nodding, and it's like, oh, you're moving your fingers. You're nodding your head. You're healing pretty quickly. It's like, okay, I've got to get through 60 people. All right, what do we got? Let's see, we have a wheelbarrow, because they took the albino's wheelbarrow, and Fezzik has a Holocaust cloak, because Mac said that it, like, fit him and he could just take it. It's like, alright, let's do this shit. So we pretty much see that, this is when we get the Mowage, the dude, talking about that. And the thing is, Buttercup never says I do. They kind of speed through it and go man and wife, and go on. While this is going on, they pretty much have Fezzik brought up, and they kind of light his ass on fire as him saying that he's the Dread Pirate Roberts, scattering everybody, motherfucker, and then just seeing the one dude with the key, and it's like, I don't have a key. It's like, yeah, okay, here you go, don't kill me, and getting inside. We see Wesley getting a little bit better, but not very much. This is where we start getting into, like, the kind of climaxes for our stories. Fezzik is being shown kind of better treatment under Inigo, and Wesley, Fezzik helping Wesley and kind of like putting him on like a suit of armor, while Inigo is chasing after Rugen. And it's funny because Inigo we have seen as a competent swordsman against Wesley. We see him effortlessly dispatch these guards that go after, and Rugen's like there, and of course he starts to deliver the line that is like one of the most quotable ones and one of the most memorable here. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. And the fucking coward runs. And then he closes his door. He screams for Fezzik. Fezzik leaves Wesley for a little bit and like bashes open the door. And then we see him chasing and everything. And then we see Rugen tosses a dagger and it catches Inigo in the stomach. And of course, the grandson's like, oh shit, fuck, no. But we see him pull it out. and Rugen stabs him, goes to stab him for a killing blow. But he's able to deflect it into his shoulders, and then we just see it, that this vengeance, this animating force, goes for Inigo, as he continues to say the line, first weakly, but then do, just how he, like, you see it, he's kind of weak, but then he just starts building up, and just, we see that Count Rugen is completely and utterly outmatched, as he is just saying it over and over again. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die. And then he does the same wounding to Count Rugen, and even does the same wounding on his face that he did. He's like, offer me anything, offer me money, offer me anything. Yes, I'll offer you anything. And then he stabs him. He's like, I want my father back, you son of a bitch. However, this was the part that I had a fucking issue with on the BBC one, where they cut off the son of a bitch. Now, there are stories that this was kind of potent and powerful kind of one for this actor as well, because he had lost his father to cancer and used that as an animating force of, like, he was doing that as well. So the dropping of potentially the accent at a certain point with this is kind of understandable if that is true. I would like to hope for it, but it's just holy fucking shit. You get to see that kind of going on. Let's see. That. So we see that Buttercup's pretty much getting ready to kill herself, but we see that Wesley has laid in bed. It's like, be ashamed to harm, there's a shortage of perfect breasts in the world. Be ashamed to damage those. And she's like on him, kissing him and everything. It's like, what's going on? It's like, ow, ow, sorry. And then Humperdinck pops in. And it's like, oh, you fucking asshole. All right, then, let's fight to the death. And he's like, no, to the pain. And this one is an interesting one as well. He's like, I'm not familiar with that phrase. And he's like, this is where, and then Wesley goes on. But the thing is, you're like, okay, this is important because it also goes into Wesley's kind of bluff, but also, I think, since Humperdinck is standing in the way of true love, what he would actually probably do as well, to the pain. This fucker tempted to kill him and torture him and do all this kind of stuff. Whereas his to the pain is to chop off his hands, chop off his feet, take out his eyes, chop off his nose, chop out his tongue, but not his ears. He's like, then my ears. I was like, no! You keep your perfect ears so you can hear the shriek of every child, babe, woman, and man saying, dear God, what is that thing? Will echo in your perfect ears. And Humperdinck's just like, fuck. Because that is the will of someone that's like, oh, no. I'm not going to let... No, you're not just going to get out of this like ain't nobody's business. And he just sits down, has... and it's funny, Wesley's able to stand up, and he just points his sword and tells him to drop his sword, and he does. Buttercup ties him up, he's like, wah! And we see that Inigo pops in, it's like, where's Physics? Like, I'm not sure. And then we see, oh, as Physics has found 4 beautiful white horses. And for them to escape, and Humperdinck's like, I knew you didn't. And it's like, he's been mostly dead. And it's like, yeah, but he's back, baby. So they jump out, and it's really kind of awesome, because Inigo's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life now. First, Buttercup goes down. It's like, hello, lady. And also the, stop it, I really mean it. Anybody want a peanut? Pheasant, man. So we see that Inigo's like doing an existential kind of thing, being like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, you know what? Piracy would be good for you. I think you'd be a good Dread Pirate Roberts, and I like to think that he would have handed that off, him and Buttercup going off into the sunset. Of course, there'd be a little lag time because he would need to kind of build up Inigo's kind of whole thing. It's just like, oh, this is kind of cool. And the grandfather's like, there's this kissing. You don't want it. And he's like, maybe I do. Go ahead. As they explain that there's been like 5 kisses in the whole world that have been rated the most passionate, and that the kiss that Wesley and Buttercup have at the end blows them all away. And then we see it's like it's a really good story for the kid. He's like, hey, Grandpa, maybe tomorrow you can come back and read it for me. We can read it again. He's like, as you wish. Going off. It's like, yeah. So I really like that because I love the tying together of both of these stories. It makes it interesting to be like, okay, what's the grandson kind of thinking? How's the grandfather kind of doing this? Any kind of changes up that he's going on? Him trying to find his place after they've kind of had their little discussions. But the whole arching fantasy story of Wesley fighting all these things, even though it would probably be considered simplistic on a lot of different kind of things, there's a lot of political intrigue and everything kind of going on. Humperdinck trying to utilize Buttercup to start a war with another nation, celebrating their 500th anniversary for the kingdom and all that. Wesley doing all these things and putting his different kind of attributes to the test to fight and obtain Buttercup again, and then being brought low by Humperdinck before the people that he had fought, who were respectful of him. Fezzik and Indigo were respectful. They might have been adversaries and against each other for a little bit, but they respected each other, and they didn't really actually want to harm one another. Vicini was the outlier. He wanted to exert control and be that kind of above person, be like, fuck you kind of shit. Him and Humperdinck really had that on that kind of shit. It's like, and then seeing what kind of happened with them. It just, I love it. The action, the adventure, what kind of goes on, the characters have a lot more to them than you would actually think when you're looking at this. It's a good one to be for like younger and older, because you would get different things out of it when you're younger and older. Hopefully more of a depth of appreciation as you're older. Now, if you don't like this movie, I get that. Sometimes things just don't. Sometimes you just don't like things. That's fine. Like me and Baldur's Gate 3. I don't think it's a bad one, but just not for me. This one definitely is for me. I just love how the content, the direction, the delivery, the actors, all of it just fits so well together and just makes such a movie that just hits the right spots for me. And I'm just like, yeah, I would recommend this to anybody. You definitely need to watch it once fully to like really get involved in it, and then having it on in the background and then be like, ooh. But the thing is, make sure you're doing something that you can pause at, because the thing is, if you really get into it and love it, you'd then be like, wait a minute, I gotta see this part. And then you're like, yeah. And then you're good. And then I'm like, alright, I gotta do this. So, those are my opinions on the movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.